come over all funny, doesn't he? I think you did. That's marvelous. Congratulations. Incidentally, I don't know. You didn't give me a present. You didn't give me a present for this man over here, but he's very kind.
Has he?
Listen. Open it. See what's in it. Open it here. Just open it here. Open that end. I think, Frank, it was very decent.
Well, it's nice of me.
It was, Frank.
It's a lovely thought.
Yes, just.
Creep.
No, just go.
It's a big of Irish intellectual.
Just go. Open the whole thing.
Thank you, Huey. Don't open any more of it, Les, because all the surprises are in there, because tonight, Les Dawson, this is your life. I'll tell you this, at least Les now knows it's for real, no gag, right, Les, yeah?
I've never been as shocked as the day I went to the Labour Exchange and was told there was a job vacant.
Well, it really is for real, and this is your life, a life that's taken a bricklayer's son from Manchester along a tough road to stardom as a comedian. Now, tonight we surprised you on the set of Opportunity Knocks because it was on that program only 4 years ago you got your first big break. So before we go any further, let's hear from the man who helped you on your way to fame and helped us catch you tonight, Huey Green. Well, now, everyone, of course, knows, Huey, that it was after meeting you that he started to hit the big time, right? Now, that was in 1967, but it wasn't a case of stardom overnight, was it?
No, it wasn't. As a matter of fact, we do auditions, as you know, Eamon, all over the country. And we were auditioning in Manchester, and Royston Mayo, who is our director, he said, I have got a chap I've known for years. I'm not going to sit in on the panel today. He said, I just want you to give him a chance, push him in on the auditions. And he produced our friend over here. And he came up to me and he said, look, he said, I'm going to do this audition. And he said, if I fail, he said, I promised my wife I'm going to go back and be a bricklayer. Okay? So I loved him because he did something which was marvelous. He dressed specially for the audition, 10 o'clock on a wet Manchester morning. He put on his tails.
You mean the same old tails he's still using?
The same old tails he's still using. And he did his audition, and if you can laugh at 10 o'clock in the morning anywhere, I think you're funny. And we did one thing to him that we never do. I told him, I said, go back and tell your wife you're never going to be a bricklayer again.
And you were right. Thank you, Huey Green.
Thank you, Eamon. Thank
you. Well, now, Les, today you're a success and topping the bill in the pantomime Robinson Crusoe at the Alexandra Theatre in Birmingham. And soon your own show, Says Les, is to return to our screens. So let's take now a look at Les Dawson, the comedian.
Well, we've just had North Sea gas installed. It's a waste of time. You can't light the stove unless the tide's in. Not that it bothers the wife, because she's no idea of cooking. I wouldn't say she burns everything, but we lay the table with an altar cloth. I'll never forget the time she tossed her first pancake. We'll never know what she put in the mixer, but for the last 7 years, we've used it as a pelmet. See, I don't knock marriage, really. I mean, marriage is very important. I've been married for 10 years now, and that's a decade, and believe me, the wife's decayed, but...
Well, now, if we believed all that, of course, it would appear that Les Dawson is the most downtrodden husband in Britain. It's not true, is it, Les?
Oh, yeah.
You say that, I feel, in a suggestion of safety, because you think your wife's at home in Bury in Lancashire.
No, she's with the horse and cart.
Well, she's not, because as soon as the coast was clear this morning, she took a train down and followed you here to London. Come in, Mrs. Les Dawson. Well, now, Meg, you've become very much a part of Les's act. Tell me, what's it like being on the receiving end of all those gags?
Well, it can be a bit embarrassing. One of Les's gags used to be that his wife was like a girl, only she's Charlie. So we used to go dancing. People used to be waiting around for me to stand up and see how big I was.
Well, now, Les, for every entertainer, there is one magical moment when he knows that success has arrived. Yours came just 2 months after that opportunity knocks that Huey was talking about. On July 30th, 1967, at the ABC Theatre, Blackpool, during a show seen by millions of television viewers, you heard the compere say these words.
Thank you, Les Dawson. Isn't he great, ladies and gentlemen? Let's bring him back for another bow.
That's the man, yes, who introduced you that night. He's broken Cinderella pantomime rehearsals in Nottingham to be here tonight. Comedian Dickie Henderson.
Oh,
Now, that was obviously a very important night for Les. Dickie, tell us what happened.
well, it was one of those wonderful nights that happens very rarely. The magic moment. I didn't know Les. Met him before the show, and he came on, an unknown quantity to me and the audience. And he started a bit slowly, and then he came out with some new material that we hadn't heard before. He even had new mother-in-law jokes. He had one, I'll never forget it. It said, my mother-in-law eats so fast that she has racing colours on a knife and fork.
True.
And after 6 minutes of this kind of material, he really did paralyze them, and he went off for a bow, and I could sense it. You get a sixth sense in our business, as Huey must know, that they wanted to stop the show for him. And on a television show, it's very difficult, but I said, right, here we go, come back. By this time, he was halfway up to his dressing room. But I was committed. And so we waited, and the applause held all that time while he got back on the stage. And it was a great night, and I was glad to be part of it.
Dickie, one question. What do you think is the secret of Les's success?
Undoubtedly sex.
Thank you, Dickie Henderson.
Thank you.
Well, that was the first experience of life at the top for Les Dawson. Now, the only son of a bricklayer born on February the 2nd, 1931 in Collyhurst, Manchester. But that bonny baby that we see here had a tough start in life.
Is that me?
That's you. Well, alas, both your parents are now dead, but they worked very hard to bring you up through the industrial slump of the 30s to boyhood in World War II. There you are. We have another picture of you in Class 6A at Moston Lane Infant School. And during the war, while your father was with the army in North Africa, money was in short supply in your council house home in Lightbound Road, Moston. So short that when your local Boy Scout troop planned a 50-mile trip to Morecambe, young Les Dawson had to make his own way there.
I was lucky enough to be treated to the train fare, but Les had to follow on an old bike.
Yes, the voice of a fellow member of that 56th Manchester Scout Troop. The boyhood pal has remained a close friend today. Come in, Ken Coates. Ken, tell me, were things really as tough for Les in those days as he said?
Oh, I think they were even tougher. Les and I think, had the distinction of being among the hardest scouts in the troop. And that bike of his, where he got it from and how he made it, I don't know. There's even the tyres patched up with pieces of Wellington boots.
Didn't you? Deserted.
Yeah, I know he jokes nowadays about saying that till he was 16, he thought knives and forks were jewellery.
Thank you, Ken Coates. Now, from a Boy Scout's uniform, you switch at 14 to the overalls of an apprentice electrician, and in your spare time, you turn your hand to amateur boxing. But as a teenager, the hands that we saw on the big gloves there were more adept at banging out tunes on a piano at home. At 18, you joined the Queen's Bay's 2nd Dragoon Guards to do your national service. And shortly after you demobbed from the army, this piano playing that you were at came in useful. You get some bookings as a part-time singer and pianist in northern clubs and pubs. Then in 1955, you moved to London in search of fame. And it's there that baritone singer Les Dawson makes this record.